Welcome to section 4, where we're going to be looking at the result and the dynamic callable types. The first feature that we're going to be looking at is how to use the result type for better error handling. What I've done in advance is to create a simple function. This function doesn't do much, it's just to illustrate exactly how to use the result type. The function has a completion handler, which takes an optional integer and a custom error. So if I scroll up, you can see the custom error here, which has one case, network issue. So let's go back to the function. The function simply returns the count of this string, but this string can also be nil. So here I'm checking if the value is nil. Then I'm going to return a completion handler. If the value of the string is nil, the completion handler will set nil for the value of the integer and then set the network issue for the value of the error. However, if the value is not nil, then we set the count of the string for the first value, which is the integer, and then we set nil for the custom error, meaning there's no error. And what makes it complicated is instead of the viewDidLoad, I am calling the count value function. I am passing a value for the string, and then you can see that we're passing the value and the error here as well. And then we're going to have 4 possible situations. These 2 situations shouldn't happen, but I've seen situations where people have to check. So we have to check here if error is not nil and value is equals to nil, and then error is nil and value is not equals to nil. Error is equals to nil and value is also equals to nil. And finally, error is not equals to nil and value is not equals to nil. We have to check all of this situation because we don't have a clear indication of when there is a success and when there is an error. This is why Swift 5 added the result type to make this situation a lot easier to handle. Here we are looking at the same function that we wrote previously, but this time we're using the result type from Swift 5. The result type here takes an integer and an error, but the result type has 2 cases. It has a failure case and it has a success case. If there is a success, we're simply passing the count value of the string that we pass in. And if there's an error, we're creating a new error. You can see that it is quite easy to understand what is going on here. So here we're calling the new count value function with the result type. And inside of the completion handler, previously we had the value and the integer inside of this bracket, but here we only have the result type. And then we can use a switch statement to check for the result type. We can check the case for success, and then we can do the same thing for the failure, and then we can just simply print the error. You can see that using the result type make the codes a lot cleaner because we only have 2 distinct cases when there is a success and a failure. We don't need to check for all those conditions that we check in the previous code. Another thing that you have to notice is that previously we have to create a custom error class in order for us to be able to use our completion handler. But here we can simply use the error object, and inside of the failure case we can create a new NS error object. By using the result object, we have a clearer code because of the 2 distinct cases that we have. And also we don't have to create a custom error class in order to be able to deal with the error. Even though this is a very basic introduction to the result type, it is a very useful addition to Swift 5, and I hope you spend more time in learning how to use the result type.